Hey everyone, this is Russell Brunson. I want to welcome you to today's training class, and I am super excited for this for a lot of different reasons. I think one of the reasons why I'm most excited for this is this process that you guys are going to learn today. Is something that I've been really passionate about. It's something that I've shared in part over the last 10 years or so, different pieces and different areas and stuff like that. And this is the first time I've ever put it together in kind of one presentation that doesn't so much give you every option that's possible to make money online, right? There's a ton of different things you can do, and a lot of different just ways you can kind of grow a business and a company online. But instead, we're gonna be focusing on what's really kind of the shortest path from I'm getting started to me making as much money as possible. And that's kind of the goal for today. And I'm excited. I think you guys are going to love it. I'm going to be sharing you guys the exact same path I went from. And the first time I went through this process, it took me about 18 months or so to go from complete beginner up to the point where my little company, my little thing that I had created, my little expertise where I was selling my advice had done over $1 million. But what's kind of fun about it is a few years later, my company had grown really big. We had at one time almost 100 employees, and we had some issues come up, as businesses often do, where we had kind of some ups and downs, and we had a really big hit that kind of hit us, and I had the opportunity, whatever you want to call it, where I had to let go 40 or 50 people in a day, and eventually cut our staff down to a really small size, and it was hard and it was scary. We didn't have cash flow coming in. We needed some way to make money quick, and I look at what I did in our business. I went back to what's going to make me the most money the fastest. What's the shortest line from beginning to cash coming in and to a lot of cash coming in, and it's funny now looking back, because we could have tried a whole bunch of different things. There's so many different business models and ideas and ways that we could have done it. But when my back was against the wall, I look at what did I actually do, and it was this process I'm taking you guys through. I followed this process to a T, where I'm going to show you guys, and after it was said and done, we were able to launch this new project. And in about 2.5 to 3 months, we made over $1 million worth of the second time around. And so it's a process that works. And I have some people I'm going to bring on here today during this webinar to kind of show you them doing this process. And both of the people I'm bringing on, what's exciting is that both of these guys have done this process over the last 2 or 3 months, which is really cool. One of them is a guy named Brandon, and he actually took this process I'm sharing with you guys last weekend. Went to a little seminar, about 50 people, did his presentation, and he doesn't have all the stats yet and what exactly you guys will kind of see, but from this process, he's already made $40,000 in sales, and if he screws it up badly, he'll do over $120,000 by the end of this week, and I think he's going to do a lot more than that, which is kind of cool. And the next person, I'm super excited for you to meet her. She's amazing. She came into our Inner Circle coaching program about 4 or 5 months ago, and she told me, she said, Russell, I want to make money quick. What's the shortest path from here to here? And I kind of thought for a little bit, and I said, this is what I think what's going to be best for you and for your personality. And she went and ran with it, and she'll kind of share some of your numbers, but super proud of her. Last month did over $30,000. I think this month they're on track to do over 100, and it's just growing really rapidly for her as well. So I'm excited, you guys. I think you'll really enjoy some of these people, and you're going to love their stories, and so I'm excited to show them, to bring them on with you, and then also for you guys just to kind of see this process for yourselves. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, this is not a typical webinar where it's going to be 60 to 90 minutes. This is a training class. It's going to be going on for who knows how long. Sometimes these things go for hours, but my guess is anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 hours we'll be going tonight. And I'm going to go until we're done. I want to make sure you guys get this information and you get all the pieces of it, because when you have them all together, that's where the magic happens. And so I'm not a big fan of traditional education. Any of you guys who know me for a long time know that I struggled in high school, I struggled in college. And I think what was hard for me is that I'd go to a class, right, for 45 minutes, and I learn a little piece of a topic. And then I go to the next class and I learn a completely different topic. And throughout the day I learned like 8 or 9 different things, little fraction pieces of each thing. And it took me the entire semester to get like the whole picture of what that thing was. And it was really hard for me. I think it's hard for a lot of people that way. And I'm a big fan of learning through immersion. And so instead of dragging this on for the next 6 or 8 weeks, giving you piece by piece, I want to give you guys an immersion experience where you spend 3 or 4 or 5 hours with me. You get the entire picture. You see, oh, this is how it works. And now you can come back and you can, because you have a full picture of what the entire business model looks like, now you can come back and you can kind of go back and start building it and be really successful from there. So that's kind of the game plan. That's why we're going so long. But I promise you guys it'll be worth it. I think you're going to have a ton of fun along the way, which should be really, really cool. Cool. All right, so I'm going to jump in the presentation. Again, I got a lot of stuff I'm going to be showing you guys. I got some slides. I got some websites I'm going to show you. This is not so much just like here's some information how to do it. We're actually going to be building out this entire process live. So you guys will see me going through each of the steps so that when you get to the part where you're doing it, you're not going to get stuck on any technical things. You're like, oh, I remember seeing Russell do it. And you can go back through and watch the webinar over and over and over again if you need to make sure you kind of master it. Now, a couple other things. Let me show you this real quick. This is kind of the outline that I'm going to be going through today. A lot of cool stuff. I will get you guys a copy of this after the webinar is over so you can go back through and have all of my notes. I think that'll help you guys as well when you're going through and actually implementing it. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into this, you guys. All right, so the title of this presentation is Expert Secrets, How to Make a Full-Time Income Working Part-Time Selling Your Advice. And what's kind of funny, some of you guys probably saw the pre-sale video for this, and in there I talked about how last year I made over $1 million by selling my advice, and how interesting it was because I don't have any certifications, I don't have any higher education, I don't have any of those things that typically someone needs to feel like they're an expert. The one thing I do have is I've got some specialized knowledge, things that I've learned along the way from my study and from trying things and applying things that have worked for me. And as I've shared them with other people, they've worked for them as well. And that's really the only credentials that you need. And I think a lot of times that people that want to get into this expert space and want to share their knowledge and their information and make a ton of money with that, they struggle because they don't feel like they're an expert. And I really want to kind of help today kind of break that paradigm with you guys. And I'll go over that here in a little bit. But I promise you guys that the information, the advice, the knowledge you have right now inside of your head, the life experiences you have, there are people out there who, if you give those things to them and you help them through it, you could literally change their lives, and people will pay you incredibly well for doing that. And it's important to understand that. I don't think I got that at first when I got into here. I was like a 21-year-old kid. I was failing out of school almost. Luckily, I had wrestling, which kept me in school and kept me making sure that I got my 2.0 GPA. But I really struggled with it, and I always thought I was the dumb kid. And it wasn't until after that when I started, learning the stuff that I was passionate about. And all of us, we spend time on the internet and we read books of things that we like, right? And I started reading personal development. I started reading marketing stuff, and I started learning all these things. And I learned really quick that if I'm learning what I like, then it becomes really fun to learn and to study and to grow. And then when I go and I take these things and I can apply it to other people's businesses, man, people think you're a genius, even though all you're doing is just sharing what you're passionate about, what you've been studying and you've been learning and you've been testing and trying on yourself. And it's really cool. So with that said, I just want to kind of get that out of the way, that's the goal of this presentation, is to show you guys how to make a full-time income by working part-time selling your advice. And I promise you, your advice is going to be worth a lot more. And by the end of this, you should be convinced of that. That's one of my goals. Okay, now before we get started, we need to cover the ground rules because this training is different than most trainings you've probably been on in the past. As you know, it is a premium webinar. The price for this event was not free. It's $297, but you had a chance to come on here for free, and you have a chance to kind of put me to the test and see if all this information, if all this stuff is actually good, if it's worth it to you, and if it's worth the ticket price. Now, to put this into perspective, a lot of people think, wow, $297 is a lot of money, Russell, for some training. But if you look at it, right now we charge about $3,000 an hour for private one-on-one consulting with me. And so what you guys are getting is over the next, I think we're probably going to go for 5.5 hours or so of my time, and you're only going to be paying $297. So when you look at it that way, it's really not that expensive. But the coolest thing is you don't have to decide right now. You get to go through the entire process first, see if it's worth it to you, see if I blow your mind, see if it gives you a paradigm shift and gets you prepared to kind of enter a new chapter of your life. And if it does, then and only then will you have to pay. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. So at the end of this webinar, I'm going to ask you guys if it was worth it. And like I said, you have a chance to kind of judge me. So that's kind of what's happening. And then what we're going to do is throughout this presentation, I'm going to be, obviously I can only give you as much as I can in 5.5 hours. I'm going to try to give you everything I've got, obviously, but there's going to be resources and tools and other things outside of this training that I'm not able to give you. And so what happens is after anywhere from 24 to 48 hours after this webinar is over and you get billed the $297, then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send you a private message that'll give you access to a members area. And the members area will have a bunch of cool stuff. One thing is going to have a replay of this entire webinar, because I promise you guys, you are going to get a little bit overwhelmed. That's just kind of the way it happens when we're talking about so much stuff in kind of a compressed time period. And so there's going to be a members area with the recording, so you can go back and you watch this over and over again, as well as a whole bunch of other resources and tools and just things I think you're going to need to help you along your expert journey. Okay, so again, we'll send you access to that after your billing goes through when the webinar is over. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we are trying to create a community of experts where you guys can come together and share ideas and ask questions about this training and ask questions as you're moving forward in your business. And so if you want to join that group, again, it's a private group, so it's only for people who have been through this Expert Secrets training. All you gotta do is go to facebook.com/groups/expert secrets. And that's kind of where you can join our private group and hang out with me and with a bunch of the other experts here who have been going through the exact same training as you are today. So it should be a lot of fun, and you guys will enjoy that group as well. So that's about it, you guys. Are you ready to get started? Okay, so this little image right here, this is the Expert Secrets process. Okay, there's 5 little bubbles here, and by the end of this will make complete sense to you. You'll see this and be like, wow, that's what it is. I get it. And so I wanted to make this for you guys so that when you're, I like having drawings because it gives you a visual of what we're going to be covering, because we're going to cover a lot of stuff. As I know, and as you guys know, I talk way too fast. And so this will hopefully give you the ability to recall what I talked about and how it fit together and all the different pieces. And so what we're going to do is going to start right here in the middle with information and kind of going through you and how you're an expert and how all the information and things you have, how that can be leveraged to make a lot of money. Then we're going to talk about your Dream 100, and this is the process where we're going to be focusing on finding out kind of what other people are doing in the market you want to be in and how we can leverage that. Next, we're talking about creating your system. Third is creating the perfect webinar that's actually going to sell your system. And then last is the promotion and how we get this out there to the world and how we get people finding out about it, coming to your website, giving you money, and all that fun stuff that entails. And that's the best part, you guys. But it does take a little bit of time, and I'm gonna give Liz a hard time. I know she's gonna be on here in a second. But with her, she was like, I want to make 50 grand in the next I can't remember, like it was like the next 30 days. And I'm like, well, that's possible, but like you got a lot of work to do, and we kind of went back and forth with that, and luckily she's amazing, and she took her a little bit longer than like the 30 days, but not much longer. But a big part of it is creating this entire system, right? That takes a little bit of work. Doing the Dream 100, the research takes a little while. Building out this webinar takes a little while. But after those three things are done, like literally you don't have to keep going and creating new stuff over and over and over again. Like this could be your entire business. And after you've done the legwork, and for some of you guys, you'll be able to create this in a week. Some of you guys might take a month. But the reality is after it's done, it's done. Then you come back here and you just focus on this promotional stuff, which is fun and it's exciting. You keep driving people into the perfect webinar, which closes people and sells them your system. And boom, it just keeps kind of going through that process over and over and over again. Cool. All right. Okay. Now to be successful in this expert business, there are basically 2 essential tools that you have to have, and there's one that's kind of optional, okay? And so people always ask me, well, how much money is it going to cost me to do this? And it's not a fortune. If you just want the bare bones stuff of what you have to actually make money, these are the things. First off, you have to have ClickFunnels. Okay, that's going to be building out your pages, your websites, your sales funnels, all those kind of things. I'm going to be showing you guys tons of stuff with ClickFunnels today. You've got to have an autoresponder. I think the best one is probably Aweber. So if you go to iloveaweber.com, you can get an Aweber account. So ClickFunnels doesn't cost you about $100 a month. Aweber is going to cost you about $20 a month. And as your list grows, that'll go up. But to begin with, it's pretty cheap. In fact, I think you can start with for $1 for like 30 days. But that's a tool. These 2 tools you have to have. Like you cannot make money online without these 2 tools. And then the third one is GoToWebinar, which is optional, but you're probably I'm pretty sure most of you guys are gonna use it after you kind of see this whole system and how all the pieces go together. So 2 essential tools and 1 optional tool that I highly recommend. And so if you have those 3 things, that's what you need to be successful with this. Everything else is just kind of nice to haves on top of it. All right, so I got 2 stories I want to share with you. The first one here is Brandon Fisher on the left-hand side, and that's him at the local theater here in Boise. He just won an award for some films he made. And then the next is Liz over here on the right-hand side. And I just totally stole both these pictures off their Facebook page, and I hope they don't mind, but I think they look great. So first I want to introduce you guys to Brandon. So Brandon is an expert, right? He's someone who has been doing film and videos and all sorts of stuff for a long time and having a ton of success with it. But for whatever reason, he was always behind the camera, and he's got his expertise, and he wanted to make money with it, but never really could do that outside of just kind of doing his service. And he'll kind of tell you the story here in a second, but he was able to go from a year ago, he went and he did a presentation and it bombed, to he came back here about a week ago. He told me he was going to give a presentation. I showed him the system I'm walking you guys through right now, and he went in afterwards and just crushed it. And so Brandon actually is not able to be on the webinar live, so I recorded a quick 5-minute video with him earlier today that I'm going to show you guys, and it'll kind of tell you his story. So let me grab this video real quick. All right, let me push play, and this is Brandon's story. Hey everyone, so first off I want to welcome Brandon. Brandon, how you doing today?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. So I want to bring Brandon on for a couple reasons. First off, he is an expert, and I've had a chance, in fact, if you guys have seen any of the videos we've been putting out lately, it's his talent and skills that's been kind of doing all the stuff behind the camera. So he's an expert with video stuff. And what's cool is that he was able to use kind of the structure of the presentation I'm going to be giving you guys today, and he wasn't selling like a training course or anything. He was selling his services, and so I want to kind of just kind of walk through your experience with what you did, so they can see kind of the power of what we're talking about. So let's start with a year ago, the first time you kind of presented at this conference, and let's talk about kind of what happened there.
Okay, sure. So I paid to become like a vendor for this group. They said, hey, you've got 2 minutes, come up on stage and you can sell your product. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Even though I have never done group presentations before, super nervous, just didn't work out very well. So I get up there and super shaky in my voice, which anytime I hear that I try to correct it, it doesn't work. Anyway. Afterwards, this guy pulled me aside on the golf course later and was like, hey, I just want to let you know that that presentation you gave, it wasn't very good. But preface that, he did say like, hey, can I pull you aside and actually tell you something? And he basically told me that if you do not have passion for what you're doing, you will not make any sales in life. If you want people to write you that check, you got to have passion. And I was like, well, geez, I love video. I love doing this stuff. Like, how can I become passionate? Like, I feel like I'm passionate, but how can I like outwardly show that? Because I believe that you can still be passionate and nervous at the same time. Because anyway, so a year later, they invited me back to this group. I've met Russell since then, and talk about building me up and giving me confidence. Russell helped me with my presentation, helped me basically figure out how to get me on track so that I don't talk about things that will distract and I go in a different direction or path. Because if I was to give that presentation again, I had to speak for 30 minutes in front of a group of 50, and I would have been absolutely so nervous. I was like, no way. But because I had such a bad experience, like a year ago, if you will, like I've already done it bad once before. I feel like you have to kind of have a failure so that you can see where you're at, so you can see where you want to go.
Yeah.
And thank you, Russell. I mean, you helped me out a ton by building me up, giving me the confidence that I need. Out of the group of 50, after the presentation, I said, how many of these people, or how many of you here want to sign up? Anyway, I ended up getting 25 applicants to sign up for my video services, which I was like super excited about.
And what's cool about it is like this whole concept. You know, most people who are on this training are going to be creating like a $500 to $1,000 product they're selling, but you're selling like super high expensive. Do you mind like throwing out a ballpark of kind of what the price point you were selling at?
Sure, $40,000 system that I do. So
That's awesome. So $40,000 system. From the presentation, you got 25 applications. I know that this was like just like a couple days ago, so you just started kind of calling the applications and stuff. But I know you already closed the first one, and I think there's gonna be like dominoes. They're all gonna fall down from here. So
correct.
it'll be fun. Like, it'll be fun to kind of look back at this in 2 weeks from now and see how much money actually came from that. But let's say like worst case scenario, how much money do you think that presentation will make you?
Uh,
That's
First
hard to say.
case, I guess 120,000. That's my goal. That's what I'm shooting for. I'm hoping to get 3 of these signed up. But like you said, I think as soon as you get one guy signed up, which I already did, I did that last night. I was able to close this guy, and if I can do that, 2 more times and use the first guy to help leverage the other guys. Anyway, I think just like you said, it should be a domino effect. So
It's awesome. And the other cool part about it is that now you got that presentation done. And this is gonna be the next step I want to work with you on, is now taking this and kind of going through this process I'm going with everybody who's on this webinar right now. And let's take it online, let's make it automated, and then you can start driving people through that all the time. And
totally.
it's pretty exciting. So anyway, I just wanted to bring you on because I thought your story was unique, and you're selling a super high expensive ticket product. You got in front of 50 people, half of them raised their hand, and from there, if you get 3 people, like you said, it's 120 grand. And if you get more, it's awesome. And now you've got this tool, the sales tool that you can use forever in your business and your life. So it's pretty awesome, man. Very
Totally.
cool. Cool. Well, thanks again for jumping on real quick. And so I hope you guys, because again, all you guys who are on this are selling different things. Some are products, some are services, some are cheap, some are super expensive. And this process, the script that we're kind of going through, it literally work for anyone. So anyway, thanks Brandon so much for jumping on. I appreciate it.
No problem. See you guys later.
Yeah. All right. Does that get any of you guys excited a little bit? I hope. Very cool. So Brandon's stuff's exciting. And what's most exciting for me is what Brandon will have made if he only gets his 3 people to sign up from this will be more than double what he makes in a typical year with his full-time job. And that's really the power of this stuff, you guys. Like, right when I first kind of started learning about this whole expert world, I remember I was thinking, someone explained it to me like this. They said, look at a high school teacher, right? And they may go and they've got expertise in their teaching, and they go and they teach these classes, and or you think even a college professor, right? And maybe they're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and that's what they're paid. And they said, look, but if you learn how to take this knowledge and take this expertise and package it the right way, and then put it out there, you could literally sell it and make $50,000 a month or $50,000 a day, which when I first got started, I didn't think that was possible. We've had multiple days where we've sold over $100,000 worth of stuff that I wasn't there fulfilling on. I'd created the stuff years earlier, and people just coming, logging in and watching the stuff that they had we had created earlier. And so that's really the power of this, is it gives you leverage where you're not just tied to, again, like right now he gets paid really, really well at his normal job, but he's trading time for hours, right? And now he's created this system and gone and sold it. Now he can get paid really, really well. So Brandon was the first one I want to share with you guys. And the next one is Liz. And Liz, you guys are going to love. I'm actually going to call her live here on Skype here in a second, and bring her on and have her tell her story. And actually, I'm going to call her right now because I'm going to preface it with her on here. So let me open up Skype real quick and give her a call. All right, bringing her on. And hopefully this will all work.
Hey.
Hey, Liz, how's it going?
Awesome.
Well, welcome to the webinar. You're live with everyone.
Thank you. Hey, how's everyone doing? I'm guessing good.
Oh, I hope they're doing awesome. So cool. So I'm excited to have you here for a whole bunch of reasons. One is you're one of my favorite people to talk to, and number two is because I think your story is really unique, but I think it's something that's very achievable for people, and that's why I'm excited to be able to share it. So let's step back to our very first call. Do you remember when that was?
That was around, when was it? Like April, I think.
April, okay. So it was April.
April, no, May. April, May, late May. Sorry.
Towards the end of May.
Late May.
All right, cool. So we got on the call, and basically, you're like, I need to make money, and I want to make it fast. And what's the fastest way, right?
Uh-huh.
And so talk about kind of, I'd love for you to share kind of like, I guess first off kind of what I told you, but then like where did you go? Where did that journey kind of take you?
Oh, wow. Well, up and down and up and down. So I'm going to be honest, right? Should I just be honest with everyone?
Please do. I love to.
Cool. So here's how it happened. I watched like Russell's like entry videos, and he was talking about, you know, fastest path to this, and like it's a webinar, and he talked to me about this whole webinar process, and I was like, cool. Well, if Russell can do it, I can do it. And that's exactly what I was thinking, right? And I had it up on my board, $50,000 by of July, and I was like, sweet, I want that. And I remember saying to Russell, I will do whatever it takes to get there. Just tell me exactly what to do. And I remember thinking in my mind, I was like, okay, well, sweet. A month from now, you know, the money is just going to be floating from the skies. It's going to be beautiful. It didn't pan out exactly like that. I had a lot of family things go on. My partner's mum, there's lots of health stuff. There was a lack of a house. There was lack of internet. There was lack of a lot of things. So
definitely not like the perfect situation was not there when this was all happening.
there was no perfect situation. And for everyone listening, I think Russell has probably heard me blubber more than any guy in the world over Voxer. Just because there were lots of different things that could have held me up along the way. And Russell's been absolutely amazing at going, right, Liz, this is what's next, and this is what's next, and this is what's next. So I remember getting off the first webinar going, sweet, I'm going to make 50K, and I'm going to do what it takes. Now, it hasn't, like, there's been life has gotten in the way. But, you know, it's been a step-by-step process. And I remember getting off, and Russell sent me through his, what was it, like the perfect webinar template?
Yep.
Yeah, so he did a webinar, and I followed that piece by piece by piece. I even like zoomed in. He uses this Starbucks as an example, and I was like, right. I even zoomed in, and I got his exact picture. I was like, if it works for Russell, it's going to work for me. And I put that in my presentation. And yeah, so it's been a bit of an emotional ride. If I'm really honest, but that's because in my mind, like I just wanted it at any cost. And then like what's happened in the last, oh my goodness, the last like 5 weeks, it's like all of those pieces that Russell's helped me like work towards, all of those different pieces have just gone funk together, and it's flying now. And seriously, I wake up every day at the moment, and my phone goes ding. There's another sale. Like, really?
So awesome. It's the best feeling in the world, right? Every time.
Yeah, it's really quite fun, to be honest.
That's cool. So 5 weeks ago, it kind of all the pieces came together, and I want to say something because I think it's important. And I think you probably heard me share this story before, but my senior year in college, I had a creativity class, and at the end of the year, we had to like show something creative we had done. And so everyone's kind of showing like their creative whatever. And so for me, I had launched a business that year. So I kind of showed like the process I went through launching this website and how it was making like, I don't know, 20 grand a month or whatever it was. And I kind of showed that whole process. And afterwards, my professor is this little tiny Indian guy named Dr. Murley. He starts jumping around all excited. He's like, do you guys see what he just did? Like, this is crazy. And he asked the class, like, does anyone have any questions for Russell? And I remember all the kids are like sitting back in their chairs, and one kid just raises his hand. And I'm like, yeah? And he's like, that sounds awesome, but man, that seems like a lot of work. And I was like, okay, first off, yes, it's a lot of work initially, right? You're pushing a rock up a mountain, but as soon as you get over the tipping point, then it's not, is it that much work right now?
Oh my goodness, that is exactly, like, that's my exact experience. Like, getting the modules done and working out, like, you know, what's next, and like, you know, that piece of like putting all the pieces together. But now that it's like together, it's just getting on a webinar and making sales and following up with people. And like as we've worked out, the money's certainly in the follow-up too. So, you know, it's so streamlined now. It was a lot of work. And I will say that with my hand on my heart saying it was work. But oh my goodness, it's worth it. So in the last month, we've turned over 35,000 US.
Cool.
So I'm playing with the US New Zealand exchange rate, so that's kind of cool right now. So that's like 43,000 New Zealand dollars. So that's cool. But then on the flip side, like we're looking to really ramp it up now. So we've actually chosen to use the first like month to really tweak and change and really see exactly if the course that I've created, like if there are any holes, and I've found 2 holes and I've plugged them with another video in each of those holes. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what do you think over the next, like, what's your goal for the next 30 days?
Next 30 days is to add 100 new full paid members into the course.
And I know you hate talking dollar figures, but it's fun for everyone here. Like, how much is a full paid member cost? What are they paying?
A full paid member is $997 US.
Very cool. So that'd be a pretty good month when it's all said and done, right?
Yeah, it'd be a pretty good one. The cool thing too here is like, yeah, like the money is cool. The money it changes stuff, but you know, seeing people like in my Facebook group, like we've got a private Facebook group too, which I've added you into as well. And the feedback there, it's mind blowing. Like I'm running around the house like a kid at the moment. Every time somebody gets their new logo, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so cool.
It's so awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I remember with my story that kid, I remember thinking this. I remember thinking that like the amount of work that went in initially, it was so much, but like but over the next like 40 years of my life, how much freedom that gave me, where he was still going to be having to go to the same job every day for 40 or 50 years. And so I just love it. And I think that's what makes entrepreneurs different, is the fact that we're willing to put in a bunch of effort up front and then stop and have this huge payoff later.
Definitely. And the other thing too is that like once you've done the process once, and you know this, like once you've done the process once, I'm like, it's easy now. It really is easy now. And my mind is going, there is so many, because I'm passionate about so many things, right? So, and as long as you're passionate, you can sell. And like, there's so many options just with this one, like webinar, like just running webinars, and with the system that you're talking about, it's just so easy now. And the very cool thing for me too was that my business prior to doing this webinar route was, as you know, it was very, like I was the bottleneck in the business. So I could make sales till the cows come home, but they all required like copious amounts of my time. So the webinar side of things, it's beautiful because it teaches people to do it's just beautiful, right? So I have this business, but then I'm teaching people how to do this business, which is perfect.
Yeah, it's so awesome. I love it. It gets me excited every time anyway, it's super fun. So I guess to kind of end with, for those guys who are going through this process, like what would you tell them? Because you in the last few months, you've gone through the beginning, the middle, the end. You've seen the highs, the lows. Like, what would be your advice or your feedback for them?
Stick it out. Like seriously stick it out. I promise to you that it'll take you not just on a technical ride, like you'll need to learn a couple of skills. You'll just need to change your mindset a little bit and go, like if you're a bit of a technophobe, just change your attitude and go, this is easy, right? And like if Russell can do it, we all saw, like we were looking at Russell's wrong screen, for goodness sake. The guy's a multi-millionaire. If Russell can do it, you can too. So the thing is, really stick at it, and like the moment that things get too hard, believe me, I wanted to give up. I swear. I remember arriving at one webinar and literally zero people turned up, and I thought it was going to be like this big webinar, and not one person signed up. And I looked at that, and I actually shot a video that day on my iPhone and of myself, because I wanted to remember that moment. And it was like no one showed up, and I had these big blobby tears streaming down my face. And basically, it's like you've got to get through those, and you got to like you'll find certain parts of yourself that you'll never know. Like you'll find this courage, and it'll just come out, and boom, there you go.
That's awesome. Well, I'm proud of you. I think it's been amazing what you've done in such a short period of time, and you're the perfect model for what everyone else should be aspiring to and trying out. And it's awesome.
Yeah, well, look, seriously, I couldn't have done it without you, and I really do thank you so very much, because the impact that you've had on my life, and now the impact that I'm now having on other people's lives, is that beautiful ripple effect. So thank you so very, very, very much.
Yeah, no worries. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you. I'm going to jump back into the presentation now, but I hope that gives everybody excitement. You guys all should try to become like Liz. She's amazing. So awesome.
See you guys.
All right, thanks. All right. So did that get you guys fired up? I hope. If that didn't get you fired up, you probably shouldn't be on this webinar. You can just hang up now and be done. So here's fired up. If you're fired up, go to the question box and let me know for sure. All right, cool. You guys are fired up. That is a good sign. All right. So that's the game plan, you guys. That's what I want to, the process I want to take you guys is that. And honestly, with Liz, she ran into so many hurdles that most of you guys will not deal with. She, because she's in New Zealand, she couldn't use any of the merchant accounts we typically use. She had to go offshore and find merchant accounts. Like, she had so many issues. She had, like she said, life, family tragedies and life things, all these things. Yet in a month and a half, 2 months, she had the whole thing live. And I think with you guys, if you follow the system the kind of the way I'm going to show you guys, I think for most of you guys, you can get done a lot faster. And hopefully we'll, after doing this with her and with a bunch of people, we've hopefully kind of shaved off a lot of the learning curve and gotten it easier and easier. But let me come back to this picture because I think it's important. This one right here. Like she said, that what took her the longest was like creating her system, creating the webinar. And that's what took her a month and a half or so to get it all done amongst all this stuff. And then now it's done, she focuses on here on the promotion stuff. And what's cool is that she basically, if you look at her life right now, every Thursday she does a webinar. So from from Friday till the next Thursday, she's got some people who are driving traffic on Facebook, getting people to register for the webinar. And she wakes up that morning, comes on the webinar, delivers the webinar that she's mastered, and boom, sales start coming in. Boom, 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 boom. She sends follow-up emails to those people who didn't buy yet, converts some of those, and then she's done. And then she sits back and she waits till the entire next week comes through. They're driving traffic, getting people to register for the webinar. She shows up, delivers her presentation, and boom, sales keep coming in. And that's really kind of the end goal with this, you guys. In fact, it could even go a step further. Because for me, and one thing I'm going to show you guys through this whole process is I don't typically like doing the same webinar over and over and over again. It's hard for me. I get tired giving the same presentation. Some of you guys, that won't be a problem. I've got friends who sell timeshares who give the same presentation 3 times a day for 10, 15 years of their life, and they just crush it, and they're fine with that. But for me, I get bored. And so what I'm going to show you guys how to do as well is how to take that presentation, and after you've mastered it and you've gotten the pitch perfect, then you can record that, you can automate it, and then moving forward, that webinar can basically go and just sell people for you, and you don't have to even be there. And that's where we're going to be going with Liz next. After she keeps mastering it and getting the pitch and everything just perfect, we'll record a version, we'll automate it, and then she doesn't even have to show up on Thursdays to give the webinar, which is the best part. She just has to keep driving traffic and have people do that for her, and everything else good will come. So it's pretty awesome. So that is the game plan. All right. Someone said, how fast can we get this up and running if we're good at most of this stuff, but just have big mental barriers? So, honestly, guys, I've had ideas where I had an idea, and then within 12 hours we would do a webinar and we would sell the thing. And so a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you, we're going to talk right now a little bit about like creating your system and things like that. If you really want to speed it up, you can create your system after you've sold it. But for a lot of you guys, you want to create it ahead of time because you'll feel more comfortable doing that. So there you go. All right, let's jump back in to here. All right, so first thing I want to start off was why the expert business, because I want to make sure you guys are sold on this, because I honestly think that it is, of all the businesses out there, it's the best. And it stands as a business just in and of itself, all by itself. Excuse me. But the other cool thing is that it doesn't just have to be by itself. If you are selling anything else, by adding this expert component to it, and you wrap your other existing business with this expertise, you can start making a lot of money. For example, Brandon Fisher that I showed you guys earlier, he's a video guy who does video editing. He was able to wrap that video, that his what he does, in information, and boom, go from charging people whatever an hour he was charging to $40,000 to do the same thing. So this information and positioning yourself as an expert will change how much you can charge for things. I mean, literally right now, you guys, we sell right now like 1 hour consults with me for anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. Okay, and it's crazy. Like, doctors don't make that much money, but when you position yourself correctly through this expert process I'm going to be teaching you guys, you can literally just change, like, double, triple, quadruple your prices for anything you want to do if you're doing consulting and things like that. Okay. If you have a software company, I'm sure you have some examples. This is a guy named Neil Patel. He's got a couple software companies, but he uses his expertise, the expert stuff I'm going to be showing you, to be fuel to sell, to drive people into his software companies. Okay. Good example. We just launched our first software company called ClickFunnels. And we use .com secrets and my expert business to drive fuel and drive people into that software company. So if you've got a software company, you add this expert piece, boom, you can sell more. If you have a supplement company, which we also have a supplement company, you take your supplement company and wrap it in an expert, and instantly you'll see sales just dramatically drive up. This is a picture here of Dave Asprey, and he's got a huge supplement line, and him being an expert and doing the expert stuff I'm going to be sharing with you guys has taken this company where he literally I don't think he drives any traffic in and of himself. He just uses his expertise and uses his personality and his story, and it drives millions and millions of dollars of sales in through his entire supplements. Okay, all right. So a couple things I want to talk about here. So the first thing I want to talk about is I honestly believe that every single person in this entire world is born with some kind of superpower, and most people aren't ever taught that, or they don't believe that, and it's unfortunate. I think that everyone's got one, and most times when we do consults with people who are beginners, that's what we try to do, is try to dig that, like, what is that thing that comes second nature to you? You look at. In fact, it's funny. I can't tell you how many initial consults we've had of people who come in and they want to be part of some network marketing program or something else, right? Something that they signed up for and they want to go sell. And we'll say, well, what do you know about network marketing? Like, nothing. What do you know about the product? Well, nothing. What do you know about generating leads for network marketing company? They're like, nothing. We're like, all right, well, what are you actually good at? And they're like, well, I'm a nurse. Like, okay, you're a nurse. Like, well, do you specialize in anything? Yeah, I specialize in this. How about, and we start digging deeper, and pretty soon we find out they're like the world's #1 expert on curing kids from whatever, right? But for them, it comes so second nature, they don't even know the value of what they have. And so one of the biggest things you guys are going to struggle with is figure out, like, what is your superpower? What's that thing that comes second nature to you that you probably take for granted right now? Like, you don't even think it's that important. But if you really step back at it and you look at it, like, people in the world, it's a superpower for them, right? Okay, for you. And if they could have that information, have that the assets and the tools you have, it could change their life. Okay, think about, like, for those of you guys who aren't techie and you've got that techie friend and he comes over and you've been spending 6 months trying to get your computer to work. He comes in and 3 seconds later it works. For him, it's second nature, but for you, you're willing to spend any amount of money to get that problem to disappear for you, right? And so you got to figure that out. That's the first thing, is what is that comes second nature to you that's your superpower? I told my kids that a little while ago. I said, all of you guys have a superpower. I said, what do you guys think it is? And they're thinking, and Dallin, one of my twins, he said, I think my superpower is eating. I'm like, all right, that works. And then I said, well, what else? And then, well, I think Ellie's superpower is this. And I remember that he said Aiden, who's the little 4-year-old, he's like, I think Aiden's superpower is hurting people, which made me kind of laugh. But everyone's got a superpower, you guys. You got to figure out what that is for you, because that's where your expertise is going to be in. And one way I kind of think about it, and I try to find it in people, is like, if you're just on a computer all day long and you got nothing else to do and you're bored, like, where are you spending your time? Where on Facebook? What groups are you part of? Where are you chatting? What things do you debate when you are just doing it for fun? Okay, and typically that's where your superpower is going to lie. All right. Okay, second step here is you've got to certify yourself. Okay, I can't tell you how many people are so scared of, or they're waiting for permission, right? Waiting for permission to go and sell something. I remember when we were working with Tony Robbins a while ago, and we were talking about this concept about certification, and he was telling me about how, like, when he first started learning NLP, he signed up for like this 6-month-long certification program, right? And so he started going to this thing, and after like 2 or 3 days, he learned all this really good stuff that could help people. And he's like, well, let's go help people, let's go fix them. And they're like, you can't, you're not certified. He's like, I don't care if I'm certified. I know how to do it. Like, let's go help people. And they're like, no, you can't. And so he got frustrated, and I can't remember exactly the story, but he walked out the door wherever the classes were at. He walked across the street to like 7-Eleven, and he started grabbing people and started like fixing them and using the stuff that he learned and having a huge, profound impact on these people's lives and changing them, because he had a tool and he went and used it. And he didn't wait for the certification. In fact, I believe he ended up getting kicked out of the program because he was using the tools without being certified. And our world is so screwed up. We want to wait for people to get certification. You know, we rely so heavily on certifications, where the only thing that really matters in this world is results. Okay, and if I can get you a result, that's all that really matters. And so don't say, well, I can't teach this because I'm not certified, or I can't whatever. That's not a good excuse. You just got to go and do it. Okay, that's really the key here. And so certify yourself. Okay, and if you're scared about that, then email me and I'll just certify you. Congratulations, you're certified by Russell as a master cool guy. Whatever you want to be, let me know. I will certify you, and boom, now you're certified. That's what you need, that permission. Let me know and I will give it to you. All right. Next is what's your message? Okay? Like what is it that really inspires you? What is it that fires you up? What is it you want to share with people that's like, this is what I want to share with the world. If I can just show everybody this, I know it's gonna change their lives. Okay? And we're going to dig deeper into this here in the next section. We kind of start breaking out your system. But you got to think about, like, what's your message to the world? Okay? My message through Expert Secrets is that you can take your advice and you can turn that into a full-time income. Okay? That's my message with Expert Secrets. With .com Secrets, my other company, I've got different messages. With my supplement, we've got different messages. But we always have some kind of message we're trying to share with the world. Okay? What is it, your message? Okay, and then for those of you guys who are saying, but, and we always get this on the live call, so I know that's kind of what some of you guys are thinking about. I want to share with you guys a story about Frank Abagnale, or Abagnale. I can't even say it right. Who here knows who he is? I bet some of you guys are probably Googling him right now. If you know who he is, go in the question box and let me know who it is. And while I just looked at the question box, Liz just messaged me. She said, another 997 cell just came in. I'm laughing my A off over here. She probably didn't want me to say the whole thing, but congratulations, Liz. She's made $1,000 while she was hanging out here on the webinar. Who here would like to do that as well? Okay. All right, so who is Frank Abagnale? Who knows? Yes. Catch Me If You Can. I got 4 or 5 of you guys saying Catch Me If You Can. Yes, he's the guy from the movie Catch Me If You Can. Leonardo DiCaprio played his character. And Catch Me If You Can was actually a book before it was a movie. And in the movie, it doesn't share this story, but in the book, it does, and it's really fascinating. So when he was going on, he was doing all this con stuff, he actually attended a semester at BYU, Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And while he was there, he went to class one day. I think it was a sociology class or something, and he got there, and no teacher showed up. So he grabbed the textbook, walked to the front of class, and started teaching sociology to this entire college-level group, and he taught the entire semester as this teacher. Okay, and they asked him later, they said, how in the world did you teach an upper-level sociology class at Brigham Young University, a very top-level university? How were you able to teach that? How do you know what to say to these guys? And what Frank said was really, really interesting, and it's the key to this whole thing, you guys. Frank said, all I had to do was read one chapter ahead. If he stayed one chapter ahead of his students, he was able to teach them and to answer the questions they wanted. Okay, so we've got one of our guys who joined our 25K group, and he's an amazing person. He's got some amazing skills, okay? Tons of stuff comes second nature to him, and he struggles because every time I talk to him, like, let's just let's sell it. Let's get your information out there, and let's change the world right now. Let's don't wait. And he's like, no, I'm working on a certification program first, and then I got to do this first, and I don't know enough yet, so I got to figure. And he wants to just keep acquiring information, and the problem is by acquiring information, you're not serving people. You're not changing their lives. You're not changing your own life. Okay, the only way you do that is by exercising and giving and sharing what you've got. And so while it's in a dream perfect world, we should wait till we know everything before we start teaching it. You cannot do that. You just got to be one chapter ahead of your students. Okay, when I started teaching internet marketing 10 years ago, okay, at the time, just to put it in perspective, I wasn't making a lot of money. I think I made about $50,000 or $60,000 that first year, selling some software and things like that. And people started asking me what I was doing. And I'm like, well, this is what I'm doing. And I started sharing it. And they had success just copying what I was doing. And then more people did. And then I started growing. And if I would have waited until I knew everything about internet marketing, guess when I would have started? I probably still wouldn't have started. I'm still learning stuff, you guys. It changes every single day. It's this fun, exciting thing. But if I would have waited until I knew everything, it never would have happened. Okay? Take a lesson from Frank. You've got to just stay one chapter ahead. Okay? And maybe you're not the smartest guy in the world at your topic. Okay? Maybe there's a ton of people who know more about whatever your topic is. It doesn't matter. You're not selling to other experts. Who are you selling to? You're selling to somebody who's one chapter behind you, someone who wants the result that you've already achieved, that you've already figured out a way, you've already blazed a trail to get, and they're just looking for the next answer. Okay, and that's where you come in. And that's really how you become an expert. Okay, all right. Okay, actually, before we go there, so before we go there, I just want to share some examples. I pulled a bunch of websites ahead of time, because a lot of times when we think about experts, who do we think about? We think about someone like Tony Robbins, who, by the way, is probably the coolest person I've ever met in my entire life, outside of my wife and a couple other cool people I like. But Tony is amazing. And so a lot of times when we think about experts, you look at Tony, we're like, man, that guy's awesome. I'm never going to be Tony Robbins. And guess what, you guys? You will never be Tony Robbins. I promise you that. You just got to be all right with that, though. Okay? There are a lot of experts that aren't Tony Robbins. You don't have to be at his level to be able to be an expert. You just got to be at your level. So I want to share with you guys some more stories. And I was trying to get all these guys to show up on the webinar. I wasn't able to, unfortunately, but they're really close friends and they have some amazing stories. So this is a guy. His name is Jacob Hiller. And Jacob is, he's one of the coolest people I've ever met. And this is his story. So he, I can't remember the entire thing, but like, one time I was hanging out with him and we measured our arms, and my arm's wingspan is actually as longer than his, but he can dunk. And so when he was younger, he just wasn't able to dunk, and so he wanted to learn how to jump higher. And so he spent like years just practicing jumping. Okay, figure out different exercises and things he could do to increase his vertical, and he did it over and over and over again until he got to the point where he could start dunking. And the guy's got hops now. I don't know if you see that video on the right hand side here. I don't know if that's him or not, but he can jump like crazy. Oh yeah, check it out. He's hitting his head on a basketball hoop here in this picture. So this guy can jump like nobody else's business, right? And he's just so passionate about this topic that he started making YouTube videos and just posting them on YouTube, showing people exercises and things he was doing and showing pictures of him jumping all over the place. And guess what happened? The same thing that will always happen when you start sharing your expertise and you start putting it out there in the world. People will start seeing what you're doing and they're going to start following you. Okay? I think it was Jay Abraham. He said that people are silently begging to be led, and it's true. And so if you will become that expert and become that person and just put out your information, at first it's going to be kind of slow. It takes a little while to get some traction. That's why Liz took her a little while to get some traction. With Jacob, it's the same thing. He started posting these videos, and soon he had 10 videos on YouTube, and then 20, and then 30 of him just sharing this stuff. But because he was putting his passion out there, people started finding it, and they would share it with their friends. And just because of him being who he was and sharing his personality, his following started to grow. And soon he had 1,000 people on YouTube following him, then 10,000. It started growing from there. And somewhere along the line, he said, man, I got an audience. I got some people who are listening to what I'm saying. I wonder if I should sell these guys something. And so that's when the Jump Manual was born. And he went and he created an entire book called the Jump Manual, teaching people how to jump higher. Okay? You may think, like, how big is the jumping market? I have no idea. I'm not in that market. But for $67, he sells an ebook teaching people how to jump higher. Now, people always ask me, like, well, is he doing good? There's like probably 5 people in the world that want to learn how to jump. Like, it can't be that big of a market, right? So I want to tell you the other cool story about Jacob. So his wife and him, when they got married, they always wanted to travel, and they were trying to figure out different ways to do that. And so when they launched this business, again, at first it started kind of slow, but it started growing. And last numbers I saw of his, which were probably 2 years ago, they were averaging over $1,000 a day, just selling this ebook. And what was cool is he had to do the hard work to get it going, like we talked about with Liz. But now that it's done, like, he doesn't have to work on it. And so they decided, I think it's like 3, almost 4 years ago now, that they didn't want to live anywhere. They did not want to have a house. They just wanted to travel the world. So what they did is they got some big, huge suitcases, and they opened up a map and they picked a country. Like, let's go to China. And they go to China, and for 3 months at a time, they'll live in a weird country and just make money online. He'll make videos of him in China jumping and showing some tricks. And they'll live there for 3 months. And then they say, where should we go next? Let's go to Kenya. And they'll pack up their suitcases. They go to Kenya. They land in Kenya. They spend 3 months there, and it makes videos of him jumping with the Masai Mara warriors and him doing stuff like that. And then 3 months later, like, where should we go now? Anyway, he's one of the most fascinating people in the world, because every time I message him, I'm like, what country are you in? And he tells me these countries I've never even heard of. And this book, this thing he created once, literally is paid for this lifestyle where they don't have to do anything if they don't want to. Traffic comes in, people buy the product, and he's just being an expert teaching people how to jump higher. Okay? Jump higher, you guys. Do you think that you've got a skill that's at least as valuable as learning how to jump higher? Okay? A lot of times we get caught up because we think about, how many people are going to buy my jumping book. Well, maybe in your hometown, maybe only 2 or 3. But if 2 or 3 people bought it in every city around the country and around the world, that can be $1 million business very, very quickly. Okay? It's pretty exciting, don't you guys think? All right. So there's the jump manual. Here's my other buddies. This guy's named Jermaine Griggs, and Jermaine actually had a chance to meet the president today. He got pictures with him and everything. That's why he was going to be on here as well. He's like, man, any other day I'd do it. He's like, I'm meeting the president today. I'm like, you know what? That's the only excuse that I'll accept. If it was anybody else besides the president, I'd make you be here. But so Jermaine's story is amazing. When he was a young kid, he started learning how to play piano by ear, and he found out that it was way easier than learning sheet music and stuff like that. And so he put together some DVDs teaching people how to play piano by ear, and he put it out there. And right now he makes millions and millions and millions of dollars every single year teaching people how to play piano by ear. Isn't that exciting, you guys? And that's what he's passionate about. That's what he's an expert in. In fact, one time it was cool. I went to Jermaine's house. This is one of the coolest experiences of my life, actually. It was neat. Went to his house, and I was kind of teasing him. I'm like, so can you play anything by ear? He's like, yeah, man, anything. I'm like, all right, I want to prove this. So he's like, yeah, man. He's like, you can prove it. So he's like, go to the radio and pick any song you want. So I went to the radio and I was flipping through the different stations, and finally I found like one song. It's kind of a popular song, so I would remember it. And he listened to it, and he kind of sat there and he listened for maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And he said, okay, turn the radio off. And he got out his big, huge keyboard, and he walked over, and he started like just hunting and pecking, right? Pushing different buttons, and he was doing stuff. And I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but what I found out afterwards is he was recording each of the tracks that he just heard. So he recorded the drum track on his keyboard, then he recorded the bass guitar, and then the guitar, and then everything. And he recorded all, he just, pecked out all these different, all the different lines till it was perfect. And then he said, okay, ready, go. And he pushed play on his keyboard, started playing all those 4 or 5 bass lines, and then boom, he started playing the song on the piano, and it was the most amazing thing I had ever seen in the world. And that's Jermaine's expertise. That's what he's amazing at, and he's made insane amounts of money. I don't know what he makes a year. The last time I saw his numbers were probably 4 or 5 years ago, and he was doing over $3 million a year back then. I'm sure it's exponentially more than that right now. And he's teaching people how to play piano by ear, you guys. Again, what is your expertise? Okay. All right, a couple other guys. I talked about wrapping a business. Okay, Neil Patel is a software guy, right? He built a bunch of software products. Now he goes, and I'll show you some of his processes as well, but he blogs and does stuff and shares his expertise that brings people into his world and then gets them to buy his software. Okay, Dave Asprey, he is out there teaching people how to live a bulletproof life. And what's cool is his whole story, if you come out here, he talks about can you lose 100 pounds without exercise, upgrade your IQ by more than 12 points, and stay healthy by sleeping less than 5 hours. It took more than 15 years and $300,000 to learn how to reach that bulletproof state of high performance. It's all here on this blog for you. Okay, so he teaches people how to live lifestyle at this huge higher level. He talks about how he was severely overweight and all these issues and how he changed everything. And because of that, he's become this amazing health guru. And then what he does is he recommends different products and he goes and creates some. And if you come over here to his site, some of you guys may have heard Bulletproof Coffee. This is one of his products, a bunch of other stuff. But he makes millions and millions of dollars selling his entire supplement line. He's got, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 different supplements now that he sells. And he does it 100% by being an expert. That's how he drives his traffic, how he makes his sales, how he's able to charge as much is because of his expertise. Okay, you guys getting this so far? Is this getting you fired up? I wanted to spend this first part of the presentation really selling you guys on this concept, because I can go and teach you guys all the stuff, but if you're not sold on the concept, you're not going to do it. Okay, because like Liz said, there's some work that's got to go into it. So I got to sell you guys on the concept of why you need to be an expert, why you need to share your message with the world. And hopefully I've gotten that through to you, I hope. Because now we're going to start diving a little bit deeper and actually start doing it. And but you've got to be sold first, otherwise you're not going to go in. So let me know, you guys, are you sold? Are you sold on becoming an expert, on stepping out of your comfort zone and actually sharing your message with the world, changing some people's lives, and getting paid insanely well for doing it? If you are, come over to the chat and say, yes, Russell, I'm ready to be an expert. All right, you guys are getting this. Awesome, awesome. All right, Candace says, I already am an expert. Yes, you are. Good, good. All right. Okay, so let's dive deeper, guys. So the first thing the first question I like to ask is, who is it I want to serve? Okay. The funny thing about these whole businesses that we do online, and any kind of business for that matter, is that too often we think about like the money part of it, and we're like, how am I going to make money and how am I going to monetize and all these kind of things. And while those things are important, that's the secondary question. The first question is, who are you going to serve? You got to figure that out first. Okay, for a couple of reasons. First off, if you get this part wrong, you'll end up getting a bunch of customers that you cannot stand. I did this for about 3 or 4 years. I had the wrong customers, and I woke up one day in a state where I just was miserable. I didn't like the people I was working with. I didn't like who we were serving, and it's because I hadn't thought about it ahead of time. And you got to think about that first. Who is it you want to serve? Who are you passionate about helping and changing their lives? That's the first step. Okay, so who is it you guys want to serve? Who is it your message is going to resonate with the most and be able to impact and change? Okay, that's the first thing you got to ask yourself. And I always ask myself that first. Let me see. Sorry, it's popping off the PowerPoint sometimes. All right. Okay. Now after I kind of figure that out, like I know that I'm going to serve. My goal is to serve. People who are overweight, or people who play tennis, or people who whatever it is, the people you want to serve. And I would spend some time thinking about that a lot. Like, don't just answer it really quickly, but who is it that you really care about, that you really think that you can impact, that your message can help change? That's the first thing. Next, what I like to do, for me personally, this is the process I go through. Everyone's got a different process. For me, I start with an idea. I say, hey, I want to do this really cool thing. And then for me, I have to get a domain name before I'm able to move forward on that idea for whatever reason. I know it's kind of this weird, quirky thing, but I've got to get a domain name. Okay. And so I'm going to show you guys that process. And then I'm going to show you a couple techie, nerdy things. Don't get overwhelmed by this. I promise you it will not make sense the first time, but I'm recording it to show you guys so that when you are doing this step of the process, you're able to go back to this video and just watch it and then copy what I'm doing. Okay. So that's kind of the game plan. So this will overwhelm you. It won't make much sense yet, but just watch this video again when you're ready to do this part, and this is how it works. Okay, so you need to get a domain name. So there's a lot of ways to get a domain name. This is a really cool site that Daryl, who's on the training right now, showed me the other day. It's called Instant Domain Search, and it's really cool. So this is how you can kind of start. Is like, what are you going to be? So you can type in let's say it's tennis, and it's going to go try to find a bunch of tennis sites that are available. So you got 10 agencies, 10 office. Sometimes doesn't get it perfect. So tennis, G tennis, N tennis, M tennis. Let's say it's personal development, personaluse.co, physicalprocess.com, personal uses. Anyway, it gives you different ideas of domains you can get. Okay, and you could also go to GoDaddy and do this. This one I like because it just pulls things up really, really quick. Let me go to GoDaddy, because then a lot of you guys are probably going to use GoDaddy because they've got the best Super Bowl commercials. So that's why people go there, I guess, apparently. So let's say it's GoDaddy you go to. You just got to go. I haven't been to GoDaddy. I don't actually use GoDaddy myself, so it's been a little while. So domains, find a domain search. I'm trying to find one. And I'm just going to type in ideas. So for me, if you guys look, a couple of things, you always want to have the .com. If you can't get the .com, pick a new name. Okay, if you can't get a name, you can add something ahead of it. So let's say let's say I wanted lifehacking.com, okay? So let's say I want to do a personal development course on life hacking. I might type that in there, and oh, dang, lifehacking.com is not available. Lifehacking.club is available. That's actually kind of cool. Lifehacking.guru is available, lifehacking.today. But for me, again, I like having the .com, so I can't get lifehacking.com. What else could I do? Maybe I could do instantlifehacking.com, and I'll try that and see if it's available. A lot of times I'll put instant in front of it or the in front of it. Oh, check it out. Instantlifehacking.com is available. So I could get that if I wanted to. Now I'm not going to, because those of you guys who know me and know any of my domains, I always put secrets on the end of everything, like .com secrets and expert secrets, and I love that. So I want to get lifehackingsecrets.com. Now unfortunately it's not available because I already bought it. So that's the domain I'm going to use for this experiment I'm going to show you guys through right now. Okay, like I said, I'm not just going to teach you guys conceptually. I'm going to try to build as much of this as I can while I'm live with you guys. So when you watch the replay, you can go back and just watch it and fast forward and rewind and watch me do it. Okay, so let's say this was available right now. I would go and I would purchase it here in GoDaddy. Okay, so that's the first step here, guys. You got to buy the domain name. Okay, next you got to point the domain name to this thing called Cloudflare. And you'd be like, Russell, what's Cloudflare? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. You just need to get it. Okay, so go to cloudflare.com. If you click on sign up, actually, if you come back here and click on compare plans, you click on that, There's a free plan. All you need is a free plan. You don't got to pay for any of them. Just get the free plan, sign up right now, boom, and it's free. Okay, you've got to have it, because what we're going to be doing here, for you to be able to accept money through ClickFunnels, which I'll show you here in a minute, you got to have your websites on a secure server, which secure means, you guys know, HTTPS. You need to have an S in your page when you have an order form, and this will allow you to do that. Okay, so it's free to sign up, but you just got to do it. So you create your Cloudflare account. I'm just going to log into mine really quick. And what's cool about this, that Cloudflare will help you with hackers and a bunch of other things that it does for free. So just trust me, you need it, even though it doesn't make any sense right now. Okay, so you need a Cloudflare account. Now what you got to do, if you look back here, I get my domain name. I'm going to point it to Cloudflare, and then I'm going to point Cloudflare to ClickFunnels. Okay, so you bought your domain inside of GoDaddy. Now when you log inside of GoDaddy, what you're going to do is you have to point your DNS. Okay, again, does not make any sense right now, you guys. But if you log in fact, I'm not if I have a GoDaddy account anymore. Let's see if I do. Yeah, I don't know my GoDaddy account, but wherever you buy your domain name from, the process is going to be the same. The company I use for mine is called Enom, but it's exactly the same for all of them. So all you need to do is you got to find your domains. So I'm going to show you. Here's my account. Okay, here's all my domains. So I've got like hundreds of domains here, right? 551 domains. So I'm going to find. So I bought Life Hacking Secrets inside of Enom. So I found it here. Now, if you notice, when you set up your account in GoDaddy or anyone you look for, all you need to know is you got to look for this thing called DNS and name servers. Okay. So in GoDaddy, if I was in my GoDaddy account and I bought Life Hacking Secrets, I'd be looking for a button somewhere that said DNS and name servers. And if you can't find that, just contact their support. Be like, hey, I'm trying to change my DNS. And they'll be like, oh, click right here and right here. Okay. Again, every system will be a little bit different, but if you know you're looking for DNS, you're going to edit your DNS servers and you're going to point them to some name servers. Okay, so the name servers you're going to point them to are Cloudflares. So if you come here to Cloudflare, you're going to add your domain right here. So let's say I put in mystupidcooltrick.com. Let's say that was the domain I bought, and I'm going to add that website. It's going to try to set it up in here. It's not a real domain, okay? If anyone wants that, it's available. Mystupidcooltrick.com. But I did this like a half an hour ago to make sure it worked here. So I did it for Life Hacking Secrets. After I add the domain in here, I click right here on this little gear, and it's going to say DNS settings. I click on that, and it's going to give me this thing right here. Right here, see, it says my name servers. Okay, these are my name servers: jim.ns.cloudflare, ruth.ns.cloudflare. Yours will be different. So you're going to go right there. You're going to get those things, copy them. You come back here, and for your name servers, you're going to post those in there, Jim and Ruth, and then save it. Boom. And as soon as you do that, now you've got step number 1 done. Okay, again, guys, this makes no sense to me or to you or to anyone. It does not matter. All you gotta do is when you're setting this up for yourself, watch this video again and rewind and then go through that process. And all you need to know is you're gonna, after you buy your domain, you gotta edit the name servers. You go to Cloudflare. It's gonna give you the name servers. You then paste them back here and save it. And now step number 1 is done. Okay, step number 1, GoDaddy is done. Now Cloudflare, that's step number 2. So now I gotta go back to Cloudflare, do step number 2. And what I've got to do is I've got to edit something. Let me come back. I promise you guys we're almost done with the techie nerdy stuff. This is as nerdy as we're gonna get today. All right, so after I've got my thing set up right here, then I click right, let's see, I click on setup. No, wait, click on, yeah, there, setup. And then right here, it's gonna say DNS records for listhackingsecrets.com. So where you're going to get this from now is ClickFunnels. So that's the 3rd step in this process, right? ClickFunnels.com. That's the 3rd step in the process. So I showed you guys earlier how to the tools we need were ClickFunnels. So I just bought a ClickFunnels account. Let's say you come here to My Account, click on Settings, and it's going to pull up this right here. I go down to Custom Domains, and there's going to be this thing right here in red. I'm going to copy that right here. Copy. Then come back here to Cloudflare, and I'm just going to post it. So I already did it right here, but I would just type in my website. So if it was Life lifehackingsecrets.com. And right here it said points to, and that's where I'm going to paste that thing I got from ClickFunnels. And I would add that. Okay. Now I did it earlier, so I'm not going to do it right now, but that'd be the last step. Now as soon as I've done that, you guys, and now we're done with all techie stuff, we're done. I promise. Now what happens when somebody types in lifehackingsecrets.com, it's going to go directly into the website we're going to build in ClickFunnels. Okay, so that's the techie part, guys. It's over. I apologize. I know that was horrible, but now you've got that documented. So when you're ready to go and do it, you can go and watch the video again and just follow those 3 steps. And that's all the techie stuff we got to do. Now we're done. Now let's move on to some fun stuff. Okay. All right. Okay, so now the fun stuff. The next thing for me, so again, for me, this is the process, right? I start with who am I going to serve? Okay, I know I want to do a personal development product. I want to help people who are struggling, who want to lose weight, they want to make more money, they want to move faster. So I know that's what I want. So what's a domain name that encapsulates that idea? For me, I go get a domain name at GoDaddy. So for me, I got lifehackingsecrets.com. That's the name that encompasses the brand I want to build. Then I pointed it to Cloudflare. I got set up in ClickFunnels. Now it's done. Now for me, the next step is I need a logo. I physically cannot create content or anything unless I have a logo. I don't know why. It's a mental barrier I have. But next thing I need is a logo. And there's a ton of places you can get a logo. But I recommend guys do what I do and go to 99designs.com to get a logo. 99 Designs is awesome because I post a logo contest and I'll get thousands of designers from around the world to design my logo for free. And I only pick the one that I actually like and I pay for that. So I posted this like 3 hours ago just so that it would have some logos for you guys to see. I just went to 99designs.com. I created a contest and then check it out. In the last like 2 or 3 hours, I got 15 logos designed. And so I can come down here. I can look at them all. I don't like that one. I don't like that one. And typically at first, at least for me, I usually don't like most of them at first. But I'm going to come through and see if I like any of them. Okay. So none of them yet, but that's all right. What normally happens at first, you get a bunch of okay ones. And then what you do is you come back through and you'll rate them. Say, I give this one 1 star or 2 stars. And you rate them all. And you can leave feedback individually for designers. Like, I like this, but I don't like this. And what will happen is that for the next 3 days and 18 hours, I get to work back and forth with all these designers. And soon there'll be 15, then there'll be 50, then there'll be 100, then there'll be 500. And soon I'll have 500 or 600 logos for me to choose from. And then I just pick the one I actually want. Okay, and I only pay for that one. And so it's nice because you get a whole bunch of people designing logos. So over the next 3 or 4 days, I will be hopefully finding a really, really cool logo through here. But most of my really good logos I've gotten from here. In fact, I think you can see some of my old contests. Not all of them are in here because I've used a lot of other things, but if you check out some of these ones. So Success Etc., which is our parent company. Boom, there is the logo that won. You can see that, but I think it's pretty awesome. That's the one that we picked. Yeah, that's on my door right now outside my office. Okay. And so what happened, I wonder if I can still see them. So I had 96 designers submitted 213 different logo designs. I just paid for that one. So you can see like all these different logos. Some are cool, some are lame. But eventually you get the perfect one. Ooh, some are really lame. That one's kind of cool right there. And there's a bunch of cool ones. But it's kind of a fun process. When you guys think, you go through it until you find the perfect one. Now this one actually came in like the very last day. It just popped up and I was like, I just knew it. I was like, boom, that's it. That's the logo. That encompasses everything I wanted to do. And so for you guys, again, go and get a logo done. Logos are fun and you'll enjoy this process. 99 Designs is super fun. It's going to cost you a couple $100 to get a logo done. But again, you've got I had 96 designers design logos for me. Typically I went and got a logo. I might be able to get a logo done for $100. But if I do that, I got one dude trying it out. And if it sucks, then I'm like, well, there's your $100 and I got this logo that's ugly. Where here I got 96 people to try it out and I just paid the one dude who did awesome. Okay, and so it's a really cool process. All right. Let's go back to here. Okay, so now you got your logo designed, and now we've got all the assets and the things you need, you guys, to really get started and to start making money with this. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to jump into more of the marketing behind it. Okay, so the first thing when I'm launching a new business, I'm kind of going through this process and trying to figure out how to take this idea and I really want to blow it up and I want to make a lot of money, right? We talk about like the shortest path, like how do we get from here to here the fastest? I believe it all begins right here with your Dream 100. Like that's the first thing you've got to have to really be able to leverage and scale this business quickly. Okay, and so I learned this process initially from a guy named Chet Holmes, and Chet passed away a couple years ago, but an amazing marketing genius and sales guy. And I had a chance to learn from him and work with him a lot over the years. And he wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine, which is still one of the best sales and marketing books I think I've ever read. You can get it on Amazon for like $15 and it's worth it. It's an amazing book. It's called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. And in that book, he has a chapter he calls The Dream 100. And he talks about how he had a bunch of really cool experiences. One of them, he was working for a guy named Charlie Munger, who's a billionaire, and he was running one of Charlie's companies, and he like doubled or tripled sales 3 years in a row for Charlie. And Charlie was like so shocked. I think he pulled him aside and was like, "Now, are you doing something illegal or unethical? Because this has never happened in the history of any of my companies." And Chet's like, "No, this is how I did it." And he shared with him the Dream 100. He said, basically, if you look at all of the potential clients out there that you could possibly want, if you could find like who are your Dream 100 clients, and so make a list of those people. And then for him, for Charlie Munger, he was running a magazine. So he said, who are the 100 best advertisers that we wish we had in our magazine? Like, who are those people? And they made that list. Here's the 100 best people we could possibly have. He says, now take that, and then we need to market aggressively to those 100 people. And he said when we did that, he was able to take Charlie's company and double or triple it in sales every single year for years and years in a row. Now, when Chet launched his own company, he wanted to do sales and marketing consulting for all the Fortune 500 companies. So he built his Dream 100 list of the top 100 companies he wanted to work with. He started doing this process I'm going to share with you guys. And within like a year, he closed like 40 or 50 of the top 100 Fortune 500 companies in the world by doing this process. A little while later, he wrote a screenplay. And he's like, you know what? I don't know anyone in Hollywood, but I'm pretty sure this Dream 100 idea will help me sell my screenplay. So he went and found the top actors and actresses and screenplay writers and producers and people, and he built his Dream 100 list. And he did this process, and within like 3 or 4 months, he sold his screenplay, made a ton of money, and the movie actually ended up going live. And he had a chance. I think he wrote the musical score for it or something crazy, and he did it all through this Dream 100. All right, and so for me, whenever I launch a company and I launch a new business, or I'm trying to figure out like how to scale something, this is what I come back to, my Dream 100. And typically for what I'm doing and kind of what you guys are going to be doing as well, we're not looking for our Dream 100 customers, okay? Because I want you guys to have a lot more than 100 customers. I want Liz to have 100 customers this month, okay? So I'm not looking for my Dream 100 customers. I'm looking for my Dream 100 partners, okay? That's the key here. Who are my Dream 100 partners? Okay, I have people email me. I don't know, we probably get 30 to 40 emails a day from people coming to me and saying, Russell, I've got this idea, I've got this product. If you'll just promote it, we'll make a ton of money. Okay, and the answer is yes. If I were to promote it, we'd both make a ton of money. But I get 30 of those requests a day, and I can't do them all, right? But I would be someone's Dream 100 because they can land a deal with me. They're not going to get one customer. They might get 100 or 1,000 customers or more. Okay, and so that's what you're looking for is who are your potential partners that could bring you 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 customers? Who are your Dream 100? Okay, that's the first step here. Now, I'm going to make a list of that. And so I did this with Liz. I've done this with a whole bunch of people right now recently where we sat down and said, okay, who are your Dream 100 partners? What are their names? And so you sit out and you get out an Excel sheet. And in the handouts I'm going to give you guys, these are the things that you're going to be looking for. Let me see if I can pull this handout in front here. These are the things I'm looking for. And this is what I would put in the Excel sheet. So first off is what is their website? So first I'm going to say like, let's say my first Dream 100 person is Tony Robbins. What's his website? TonyRobbins.com. Okay. Then did I join his list? Yes or no? Because you need to be on his email list. Okay. We're going to talk a lot about that right now, but email lists are like the holy grail. So I need to make sure that I am on the list of all 100 people in my Dream 100. Because I need to see what emails they're sending out, what they're saying, what they're selling, what they're talking about. Because when I get on the phone with that person in the future, I need to make sure that I've done my homework and I know who they are. Okay, I've had multiple people who had me on their Dream 100 list, and they call me up and they'll try to pitch me on something, and I can tell really, really quickly they have not done their homework. They don't know what I'm doing. I had a guy the other day that's just like, hey man, you're one of my favorite marketers. I really want you on my team. Just curious, like, what are you working on right now? And I said, a lot of things. Like, if you've seen anything that's coming out recently that you like, she's like, no, I haven't looked for a while, but just curious, like, what have you been focusing on? I'm like, okay, I know right now out of the gate, this guy has no idea what I'm doing, because I spent the last 4 or 5 months of my business doing nothing but promoting our new software company, ClickFunnels. We were in the middle of a huge launch with hundreds of affiliates promoting. And he's asking me what I'm doing right now. He had no idea. Okay, if he would have done his homework and been on my list before he made that call, he'd say, man, I saw what you're doing with ClickFunnels. This is awesome. This is why I love it. This is why I'm going to promote it. This is how I'm going to help you. That would have changed the whole conversation. But he didn't do his homework, and because of that, he didn't get the deal. Okay, it's important. Okay, if you guys watch Shark Tank, the entrepreneurs who do their homework ahead of time are the ones who are successful. Same thing here, you guys. When you have your Dream 100, you got to do your homework ahead of time. Okay, and the best way is to get on their list, follow them on Facebook. Anywhere that they're communicating with the audience, you need to see those things. One of my friends, his name's Stu McLaren, and Stu's a really cool marketer. When I first met Stu, he was brilliant because he was on my list, but then he bought my product, and it was the live training course that I was doing, and every single training course I did, he was on there asking questions and answering questions and being helpful, and I knew his name over and over and over again. I saw his name, and he was one of my customers. He bought something, so when he called me up on the phone to do a deal, guess what? I knew who he was already. Okay, I knew exactly who he was, and we were able to set up a deal really quickly. And we ended up becoming business partners, and we've done a lot of stuff over the years because of that. Stu also, one time he was calling this guy named David Fry up. David is actually married my second aunt, and David's one of my favorite people in the world. He called up. Stu called him up and said, hey, I want you to speak at my event, and I want you to promote it to your list. And David said, hey, I'd love to speak at your event, but I can't promote it to my list. I never do that for people. I can't, but I'd love to come speak at your event. And Stu said, no worries, that's awesome. By the way, I hope Ingrid's doing awesome, and blah, 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 and kind of mentioned something about his personal life that Dave had written about 2 weeks earlier in an email. And Dave ended up hanging up the phone, and he sat there and said, you know what? Stu did his homework. Like, he knew my wife's name. He knew the story that I emailed my list 2 weeks ago, and he was prepared, and he showed up ready. And so Dave called him back a few minutes later and said, you know what, man? I really like you. I'm not only going to speak at your event, I'm also going to promote it to my list. And boom, that deal was done. Okay, you guys. So it's important for you to be on their list. Now, one thing I want to be careful of is if you join 100 people's lists and you're already getting a lot of email right now, you're going to start getting a lot of email. So I recommend setting up a new Gmail account. Set up like Russell's Potential or Russell's Dream 100 at gmail.com, something like that, and join everybody's email list through that. That way, it's not all going to your main inbox; it's going somewhere else. And then before you make a call, somebody you can log into that email, go and search all of their messages, read through them all really quick, and then boom, you got some more information on them. Okay, but definitely join their list. You need to know what's happening. Otherwise, you're going to look so foolish when you get on the phone and try to do a deal with them. Okay. Next is, what is their fan page URLs on Facebook? Okay, this is important because in the last step in this process, we're going to be driving traffic to their fans. So you find out what are their fan page URLs. Put that in your Excel sheet. How many fans do they have? What's their flagship product? What's the core thing they're selling? Okay, what's their phone number? What's their address? You want to gather as much information as you can during this discovery process of your Dream 100. Okay, all right. So you can see right here, you guys, the first step here on the left hand is you got to follow, you got to friend, you got to subscribe, you got to buy their products if you can afford them, because you need to start just really understanding these people. Okay. Now the next thing is what do you have that you can do to kind of provide value to this people? Okay. The worst thing you can do is call somebody up the very first time out of the blue, and they have no idea who you are, and you're like, hey, I've got this webinar, and it's awesome, and I think if you promote it, we're both going to make a ton of money. Okay. Like I said, I get 30 of those a day right now, and guess how many of them we do deals with? None of them. Okay. The reason why is because they have not done their homework. They have not. If you look down here, it says Dig Your Well. There's a book that I saw a little while ago on Amazon. It was called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And I never read the book, but I bought the book just because I felt like the author deserved my $19 because he gave me an idea. He made me understand that most of us are going out there and we put all this time and effort into building this entire thing, and then we go and we're like, hey, we promote this, and people don't know who you are, right? If you want someone to promote something for you in the future, you got to start digging your well today. You got to build that relationship today. Okay, dig your well before you're thirsty. You're not going to go dig it like, hey, I'm thirsty. Let me go get this started. Like, this Dream 100 needs to start today, you guys. You need to start building relationships today with these people. Do not wait until your product and your webinar is ready. Because if you do, it's going to be too late. Okay, dig your well before you're thirsty. All right, so how do you do that? How do you do that right now and get it started? So a couple things. Like I said, follow these people, subscribe to them, post when they blog. comment on every blog post they make. When they post something on Facebook, go and comment, share their stuff, whatever you can do so they start seeing you and they start building a relationship with you, okay? Next idea, one that works really, really good, is a podcast. Okay, this is one of my buddies. His name is Brad Costanzo, and he launched a marketing podcast called Bacon Wrap Business. And Brad has nothing to sell to his audience. He has nothing right now. And I said, why did you do this? And he said, 2 reasons. First off, I wanted to be able to interview tons of cool people and get free consulting from them. And I said, all right. And he said, number 2 is he's like, right now, for example, he did my interview with me and said, I interviewed you, I let my audience listen to it, I promoted you on Facebook. And he's like, you and I have a relationship now. We're friends. Like in the future, someday, if I do want something, he's like, you're probably going to answer my call now because I put you up on a pedestal. I interviewed you and put you out to my world, to my platform. And it was true. Like I've built a really good relationship with Brad because of this podcast. And so for you guys, like one idea is starting a podcast. Okay. It's one of the easiest ways to get somebody to return your call. It was interesting. I was watching, if you guys have ever seen Celebrity Apprentice, it hasn't been on for a while. I think they might have canceled it. I'm not sure if they did cancel it or not, but I think they might have. But the last season that I saw, Arsenio Hall was on it. If you guys remember Arsenio Hall, like the Arsenio Hall show, right? And I remember being a kid and seeing that show and him coming out and like, who, you know, his whole spiel, right? And I remember that during obviously his show was canceled like 10 years ago, and was kind of a nobody. And he came on Celebrity Apprentice. They always bring on like these B-level celebrities, right? So they bring him on, and everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember Arsenio Hall. And they had this challenge where they were trying to raise money for a charity, right? And so Arsenio goes and he's like, yeah, I can raise a bunch of money. He starts calling all of his friends, all his contacts, and guess how much money he raised? Big fat 0. Everyone he called, nobody returned his call. Nobody returned his call. And he was like so frustrated. And I remember he said this line that just like, when he said it, I was like, that's it right there. He said, man, when I had a show, everybody returned my call. He said, now that I don't have a show, nobody will call me back. Okay? Because there was a platform and people wanted to be on his show. So they would do anything to get on his show. And he was the man. As soon as his platform disappeared, nobody returned his call. Okay, so for you guys, like starting a podcast, this is your platform. This is your show where you can interview the most amazing experts in the world and bring people on. And guess how many subscribers Brad has to Bacon Wrap Business? Okay, I don't know. I have no idea. But he called me and said, hey, can I interview you for my podcast? It's called Bacon Wrap Business. I said, yeah, that'd be awesome, man. I'm on his show. Now, I have no idea how many people were on his show, but he was able to get my attention enough that I put down an hour of my time, consulted him for free for an hour on what we're doing and all sorts of stuff because he was putting me on his platform. So for you guys, if you're thinking like, how am I going to get through to my Dream 100? One of the best ways is to start a podcast and bring them on your show. And boom, now you'll start building a relationship with them. You're providing value to them. You're doing a whole bunch of really cool stuff. Okay. So there's idea number 1. Next idea, this one I thought was brilliant. This is a guy named Jesse Elder, and I just met Jesse recently. In fact, I saw him on my Facebook thing, and I saw him speak at some event. I don't even know what it was. So when I followed him, or I friended him on Facebook, and he friended me back, and he's like, "Hey man, heard a lot about you." I said, "Yeah, I heard about you," and we just kind of connected through there. And then about 2 weeks later, he posted this thing on his Facebook wall, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm doing this really cool training program called Ethical Cult Building 101, and teach people how to create mass movements and how to use that to sell products and things like that. And I'm going to be selling this in the future for a couple $1,000 bucks, but want to know if any of you guys want to come in for free right now so I can take some people through the process, get some testimonials, and check it out." And I was like, yeah, do that. So I posted, I want in, and a bunch of people said they wanted in. And check this out. I'm going to pull up our little secret group. Hopefully he won't get mad at me for this. But this is the Facebook group right here. It's called Ethical Cult Building 101. And right now he's got 661 members. 661 people who are his friends, his family, and also, guess what? His Dream 100. People who he was following on Facebook, people who he was connecting with on Facebook, getting to know them. He invited them all to this training for free. Now he's got this huge group of people, right? He comes out and he does his very first version of his system. He sells session 1, session 2. He gets hundreds of testimonials of people loving it and people experiencing it. And he's creating this great community and great success stories, all this stuff coming from his training. He's giving away for free. What's he doing right now, you guys? He's digging his well before he's thirsty. He knows that, hey, maybe Russell would have bought this in the future, but if I give it to him for free, what could happen? maybe Russell will go and in the future he'll like my training. When I do launch this as a product, maybe Russell will promote it. Instead of bringing in just him as that one person, he'll bring in 100 customers or 200 or 500 or more. Okay, he's very strategically building. He's strategically digging his well before he's thirsty, providing value to us, proving he knows what he talks about. And someday in the future, he may or may not, but I'm pretty sure, if he was me at least, in the future he's going to come out and sell us as a course. Okay, so as you're building relationships with these Dream 100, and you're following him, and you're friending him, and you're sending him messages, and you're thanking him for their email, and you're doing whatever you can to build connections with all these different people, after you've kind of got that happening, go and invite them to your training for free. Give them an experience. Let them experience you for free if you want. I don't care. But give them that experience where they say, man, this guy is awesome. I receive more value from him, because I promise you, these are all things you got to be doing right now, you guys, to dig your well. Okay? So that's your Dream 100. And that's the first real key here, you guys, is finding out who those people are. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why. I think I share on the next slide. Nope, I don't. So a bunch of reasons why. One of them is, you see this little ecosystem. When you build your Dream 100, this is kind of going to probably end up being all the people who are in your market. Okay. Now, when I first got started online, I was really scared about competition. I remember getting into some markets and I said, there's a lot of people selling stuff like this. This is going to be hard. We're going to be competing against each other. And what I found, though, is that when I go through this Dream 100 process, I find out that, hey, this guy right here, this is what he sells. And it's not the same as mine, but it's in the same market, right? It's in the same ecosystem. And this guy is selling this thing over here, and this person's selling this, and this lady's selling this. And I start seeing, like, what are all the different things people are teaching? Now, if I come in there with an exact same product, and I say, hey, Jesse's teaching ethical cult building, I'm going to teach ethical cult building, what happens? Suddenly we're competing, right? And if we're competing, we can't be partners. Okay, but if I look at it differently, instead of coming in and trying to be directly competing with him, but I say, hey, Jesse's got ethical cult building, this guy's got persuasion secrets, this guy's got stage platform selling, this guy's got this. How do I fit in this ecosystem? What do I have that's a little bit different? What's the spin I can take on my content? Where now, when I talk to Jesse my first time, right? Let's say he's my Dream 100. Instead of me going and trying to go and compete with him, say, hey, I'm selling this thing as well and we're competing. If I make a product that complements his instead of competes, what happens? Suddenly all these competitors right here all can become my partners. Okay? So it's important to understand that, you guys. How can you tweak what it is you're selling so instead of competing, you're complementing? Because if you can figure that out, it becomes very easy to grow and to scale one of these businesses. Okay? Now, sometimes you're going to have to compete. Of the 100 people, maybe one person is going to be a direct competitor, and that's fine. But the more you can complement your Dream 100 and less you compete with them, the better off you're going to be. Okay? All right, so that's going to be important, because that's going to help you kind of figure out, now that you know the ecosystem, the people of your dream partners, you can be able to figure out, like, from that, who am I going to be targeting? How am I going to sell to them? Okay, so there is your Dream 100. Any questions about that right now, you guys? I think it's pretty simple. It's not that hard. All right, speaking of, James just invited me to be a guest on his show. Good for you, man. You're getting it. Okay, having your own platform, you guys, is huge. Even if you have no following right now, okay, it doesn't matter. Right now, it's just about creating a platform, creating a podcast, creating a YouTube, whatever it is, creating something where you have a platform to start sharing with people. Okay. All right, so there's your Dream 100, you guys, and that's the first step. So tonight, after you've gotten your domain name, you bought in your logo, I'd open up Excel and start building out a Dream 100 list as quick as you can. Because the faster you find your 100 potential partners, the faster you're going to find out where in that ecosystem you fit. You're going to be able to start building relationships with people, and you're going to start digging your well now, so that in a month from now, when your training is done and your webinar is perfect, you're not just calling someone out of the blue. You're not one of the 30 emails I get every single day. You're messaging me on Facebook, or you're texting me because we become friends. Okay, you guys, and that's the key here. Okay, we're going to talk about paid advertising. There's ways to do that, but if you want to go a fast line and fast track your success, it's by finding partners, and that's the fastest way to be successful with this. And then, again, we'll get into the paid advertising, all the things you can do on that side, but the fastest way is building good relationships with those Dream 100. Okay.